In the picturesque countryside of England, a story of love and betrayal took a tragic turn, leaving a young mother's life hanging in the balance. This is the story of Natalie Connolly, a tale of domestic violence, resilience, and the pursuit of justice in the face of unspeakable cruelty. Natalie, a devoted mother and partner, found herself trapped in a cycle of abuse that would ultimately lead to a harrowing ordeal. Her story serves as a stark reminder of the hidden dangers that lurk behind closed doors and the courage it takes to break free from the bonds of domestic violence. Natalie Connolly epitomized beauty with her captivating charm and stunning appearance, matched only by her equally lovely identical twin sister. Their bond was unbreakable, sharing not only looks but a deep connection. Natalie possessed a natural gift for bringing joy to those around her, effortlessly sparking laughter and engaging in conversation with anyone she met. Despite the challenges of being a single parent, Natalie devoted herself to ensuring her daughter Madison lacked nothing. Her unwavering dedication as a mother was evident in her constant presence and adoration for Madison, fostering a strong admiration from her daughter. In a bustling bar, she encountered John, a debonair and charming man who caught her eye immediately. Their connection was instantaneous, drawn together by an undeniable magnetic pull. Despite John being in his late 30s, his charm and wit swiftly captivated her heart. Before long, they exchanged contact details, eager to delve deeper into their budding connection, spending increasing amounts of time together. Natalie found herself irresistibly attracted to John from the moment they met, though initially unaware of his occupation or wealth. As they grew closer, John revealed his status as a multi-millionaire, a fact reinforced by his extravagant gestures of affection. Lavish gifts flowed freely from his generous hand, and their evenings together were filled with luxurious dinners at top-tier restaurants. His opulent mansion seemed plucked from a fairy tale, leaving Natalie spellbound by his refined and gentlemanly demeanor. Contrary to the charming facade John projected, he harbored a trove of hidden truths. It soon came to light that John's life was far more complex than he had let on. Amidst his engagement to a pregnant partner, with whom he anticipated their second child, John concealed the existence of 3 additional children. His involvement with Natalie was revealed to be an affair that persisted even as he navigated the dissolution of his prior relationship, ultimately choosing to redirect his focus towards her. Their romance unfolded like pages from a fairy tale. From the onset, John and Madison formed an instant bond, while Natalie effortlessly won over John's children. Showering Natalie with lavish gifts and luxuries like spa days and a personal chauffeur, John seemed to fulfill every dream imaginable. Yet, amidst the opulence, reality set in when Natalie relocated to John's estate in Kinver, Staffordshire, England. Initially, their connection was fueled by passion, but living under the same roof unveiled the truth. True understanding emerges when you share every waking moment. John's preferences leaned heavily towards the rougher side, reminiscent of scenes from 50 Shades of Grey. Much to Natalie's discomfort, he derived pleasure from causing pain during intimate moments, often leaving visible evidence of his aggression in the form of bruises and cuts. The extravagant dinners and romantic gestures began to lose their luster when Natalie realized the steep cost they came with. What once seemed like a fairy tale now bore the stark reality of a tumultuous relationship. Despite her reservations, Natalie reluctantly acquiesced to John's demands during their intense encounters, driven by a fear of abandonment akin to what he had done to his pregnant ex-fiancée. Despite grappling with this significant issue, she found contentment within the relationship and hesitated to walk away, fearing a return to the monotony of her previous life. Seeking solace and guidance, she confided in her sister and mother, revealing the wounds and bruises that bore witness to John's violent tendencies during their intense sexual encounters. While acknowledging John's prowess in the bedroom, she also disclosed the distressing reality of his penchant for inflicting pain. Coping with this dichotomy proved challenging, leaving her torn between the pleasure he provided and the harm he caused. Natalie found herself ensnared in a dilemma, torn between her desire to maintain the lavish lifestyle with John and her dissatisfaction with the intimate aspect of their relationship. Signs of strain became apparent as both Natalie and John sought connections outside their partnership. While John engaged in conversations with other women, Natalie also found herself messaging other men. When John uncovered Natalie's exchanges with other males, unbeknownst to her, his reaction was one of fury. While he didn't hesitate to pursue interactions with women himself, he vehemently opposed Natalie's involvement with other men, revealing a glaring double standard in their relationship dynamic. However, he remained silent, masking any signs of unease, and instead proposed a seemingly normal evening together on December 18, 2016. Drinks, watching a football game, and sharing supper. He ensured Natalie had an abundance of alcohol and even provided cocaine, although to a lesser extent than he consumed himself. This wasn't the first time he had orchestrated such a scenario, suggesting a pattern of behavior aimed at loosening her up before subjecting her to his despicable actions once they were alone at home. It raises questions about whether Natalie's heavy drinking on these occasions was an attempt to numb herself to the anticipated pain she knew she would endure once behind closed doors with him. For him, maintaining absolute control was paramount, ensuring he could fully indulge in his intentions towards Natalie without compromising his faculties. Thus, he meticulously regulated his alcohol intake, aiming to achieve a state of mild intoxication that wouldn't impede his actions during their sexual encounters. Following a seemingly delightful day out, culminating in a satisfying meal at one of their favoured establishments, John arranged for their driver to transport them home. However, beneath the facade of normalcy lurked John's sinister and malevolent intentions for that day. Natalie's intoxication was palpable, exacerbated by the ineffectiveness of dinner in sobering her up or absorbing the alcohol. Disoriented, she stumbled out of the car upon their arrival home, inadvertently leaving her phone behind. While the logical course of action would have been to provide her with water and guide her to bed to sleep it off, John Broadhurst had far darker intentions in mind. Upon the driver's return with Natalie's phone, it remains unclear whether John revisited her messages. Subsequent toxicological testing and autopsy results painted a grim picture of Natalie's state. Despite her incapacitation, John was resolute in his desire for retribution, callously disregarding any potential consequences. Natalie became the unwilling recipient of his brutal advances as he meticulously orchestrated her suffering to inflict maximum harm. He subjected her to a barrage of violence, unleashing a brutal onslaught that included punches, kicks, stomps, and the grotesque act of throwing bleach at her face and genitals. To compound her agony, he twisted and tore at her with a bottle of carpet cleaner, its spray nozzle used as a weapon. Once he had finished his cruel assault, he callously abandoned Natalie, naked and bloodied, at the base of the stairs, her skirt haphazardly pulled up around her waist. Left to succumb to her injuries, she lay in a pool of her blood as John callously retreated to bed. Hours later, upon awakening, he discovered Natalie lifeless, having succumbed to the multitude of horrific wounds inflicted upon her, numbering a staggering 40. John's subsequent actions, including his unconvincing performance during the emergency call for an ambulance, laid bare his warped psyche. His detachment and lack of remorse were chillingly evident as he casually informed the operator of his futile attempts at CPR, referring to Natalie's lifeless state with callous indifference. As the paramedics somberly carried Natalie's lifeless form and loaded it into the ambulance, John remained impassive, a silent observer of the tragic aftermath of his actions. Following Natalie's pronounced death, he was predictably apprehended by authorities. In a feeble attempt to justify his heinous deeds, he offered the excuse of rough sex gone too far. Claiming innocence, he alleged that Natalie had actively consented to the extreme acts, insisting that she had initiated and desired each brutal action inflicted upon her. According to John's twisted narrative, Natalie purportedly requested the injuries, the violence, and even the insertion of the carpet cleaning bottle into her body. He recounted how, amidst the blood and pain, she purportedly reassured him of her well-being and expressed a desire for more of the same, painting himself as a mere pawn in her tragic demise. John attempted to deflect responsibility by asserting that Natalie willingly participated in rough sexual activities, asserting that they had engaged in similar encounters numerous times without issue. When questioned about leaving her partially clothed at the foot of the stairs, he offered the feeble excuse that it was a routine occurrence and that he had never provided blankets as the house was consistently warm. Throughout the proceedings, John displayed a notable absence of remorse or contrition, instead placing blame squarely on Natalie's shoulders. Shockingly, his efforts to shift accountability proved successful, much to the dismay of onlookers. Despite being found guilty of manslaughter, he received a lenient sentence of 3 years and 8 months, serving only 22 months before regaining his freedom. Today, John Broadhurst walks among us, a sobering reminder of the failings of justice and the enduring pain inflicted upon Natalie and her loved ones. The case of Natalie Connolly sparked widespread criticism and controversy, prompting Fiona Mackenzie to launch the "We Can't Consent to This" movement in December 2018. Mackenzie's initiative serves a dual purpose: to ignite conversations about the pervasive issue of sexual assault and to advocate for the elimination of the rough sex defense. In Mackenzie's eyes, this defense trivializes and legitimizes violence in intimate relationships, perpetuating harmful stereotypes and minimizing the experiences of survivors. However, Mackenzie encountered surprise during interviews, as some individuals, while disagreeing with the court's decision, accepted it nonetheless. This acceptance stemmed from a belief that the events were an isolated incident, viewing it as an aberration rather than a systemic issue. Tragically, this mindset often leads to victim blaming, placing undue responsibility on the survivor for the perceived risks inherent in their behavior. Such attitudes underscore the urgent need for continued advocacy and education to challenge harmful narratives and support survivors of sexual violence. The rough sex murder defense was unequivocally prohibited with the passage of the Domestic Abuse Bill by Parliament on July 6, 2020. Following the granting of royal assent on April 29, 2021, the Domestic Abuse Bill was officially enacted into law, now recognized as the Domestic Abuse Act of 2021. This legislative milestone represents a crucial step forward in addressing and combating domestic violence, ensuring that perpetrators can no longer exploit such harmful defenses to justify their actions. Natalie's untimely death left a profound void in the lives of her family and friends, who continue to grapple with the pain of her loss. Their unwavering love and support for Natalie serve as a testament to her enduring spirit. In the aftermath, the community rallied together to raise awareness about domestic abuse and to support survivors in their journey towards healing and recovery. Their solidarity and compassion stand as a beacon of hope in the face of unspeakable tragedy. Though Natalie Connolly's life was tragically cut short, her memory lives on in the hearts of all who knew and loved her. May her story inspire us to stand against domestic abuse and to offer support to those in need. If you found this video compelling, leave a like, and your thoughts in the comments. Be sure to subscribe and check out our other videos.